Have you ever heard grown-ups use that big, tricky word inflation? It sounds kind of complicated, right? Well, don't worry, we're going to figure it all out with a super fun story, and it's all about bananas.
Yeah, let's just forget about all the boring charts and big confusing numbers. Instead, I want you to picture something with me. Imagine a huge green jungle. And living in this jungle, well, that's where we'll find our main characters. Some really smart monkeys, tons of yummy bananas, and their own special kind of jungle money.
All right, so to kick things off, let's start with a really simple question. Just imagine for a second, there's only one monkey in the whole jungle, and he's got just one perfect banana. How special do you think that one banana is to him? And that right there shows us a really simple but super important rule. See, if there's only one banana in the whole jungle, that makes it rare, right? Which means it's incredibly valuable. But what if the jungle suddenly had mountains of bananas everywhere you looked? Well, then any single banana, it's not quite so special anymore, is it? Keep that idea in your head, because it's the key to this whole story.
Okay, you ready? Let's get to the really juicy part of our story. I like to call this the Great Banana Squeeze, Part 1. And trust me, this is where things start to get a little wild in the monkey world.
So, our story kicks off with this one super happy monkey. Why is he so happy? Because he just found the best banana store ever. And he's so excited, what does he do? He swings through the trees, hooting and hollering, telling every single one of his friends about this amazing place.
And boom, just like that, you've got this huge line of monkeys snaking out of the store, all of them wanting to buy a banana. But here's the problem. The farmer only has so many bananas. He can't just snap his fingers and grow more overnight, right? So now you've got tons and tons of monkeys, all wanting a banana from the same small pile.
And this is our first big idea. It's called demand pull inflation. Think about it. It's like all those monkeys are literally pulling the price up because they all want those bananas so badly. And that's a basic rule. When lots of people want something and there isn't much of it to go around, the price pretty much always goes up.
But hold on, the story doesn't stop there. Not even close. Welcome to part 2 of our Great Banana Squeeze. Because this time, the problem isn't with the monkeys, oh no. This time, it's the farmer. So the farmer sees this huge line of monkeys, and he's thinking, wow, I gotta grow more bananas. Simple enough, right? But then, when he goes to buy more banana seeds to plant, he finds out the seeds are way more expensive than they used to be. Suddenly, everything he needs just to grow his bananas is costing him more money. So now, the poor farmer has a tough choice to make. If he wants to stay in business, he has to cover those higher costs for seeds and stuff. And the only way to do that? He has to charge the monkeys more for each banana. And notice, it's not because more monkeys want them this time. It's just because they're more expensive for him to grow in the first place.
And that brings us to our second big idea, cost push inflation. See how that works? The higher cost for the farmer gets pushed onto the monkeys who are buying the bananas. The price gets pushed up simply because it costs more to make them.
All right, you're doing great. Now, let's throw one more thing into our jungle economy, money. Except, in our story, the monkeys don't use coins or paper. They use special leaves as money. And this is where things can get, well, really bananas. So the monkey government looks around and sees the bananas are super expensive. And they think, hey, we can help. We'll just make a whole bunch of new leaves so everyone has more money. And at first, that sounds like a great idea, right? But then the banana farmer sees that every monkey has more leaves. So what does he do? He raises his prices. So the government makes even more leaves. And the farmer, yep, you guessed it, raises his prices again. It just becomes this crazy, out-of-control cycle.
It's like you can almost hear one of the wise old monkeys shaking his head and saying, this is getting ridiculous. The more leaves they make, the more bananas cost. The more bananas cost, the more leaves they feel like they need. It's just a loop that spirals and spirals and doesn't stop.
So what happens? Eventually, the monkeys had these giant piles of leaves, but a single banana costs a whole mountain of them. The leaves basically become worthless. So the monkey government has no choice. They have to scrap the whole system and start all over again. They decide that from now on, sticks are the new money.
Okay, so we've seen how all these big problems can make prices go up. But what does that actually feel like for a regular monkey who just wants to buy his lunch? Well, to figure that out, let's meet two very different monkeys. Okay, look here.
On one side, we've got a happy monkey. For him, the number of leaves he gets from his job goes up at the exact same time the price of bananas goes up. So for him, nothing really changes. He can still buy his banana, no problem. But then, look at the other side. Here's our sad monkey. The price of bananas goes way up, but the number of leaves he gets stays exactly the same. All of a sudden, he can't afford his favorite food. And this is so important, because it shows how this whole inflation thing affects everyone in a totally different way.
Man, this all sounds a little scary, doesn't it? So is there anything at all that a clever monkey can do about it? Well, the answer is yes, there is a secret. The smart monkey's secret.
So this is the big question, not just for our monkeys, but for all of us, right? How do you protect the stuff you have when prices are always changing? How can you make absolutely sure you'll always be able to afford your bananas?
And sure it is. The secret is a smart monkey knows that her pile of leaves might be worth less tomorrow than it is today. So she doesn't just hang on to them. Instead, she invests. Now, in our story, that means she takes her banana and uses it to help grow more bananas. See? By investing, she makes sure her own pile of bananas is always growing, hopefully even faster than the prices are going up.
So, that leaves us with just one final thought to chew on. In your life, what's your banana? You know, what's that valuable thing you really want to protect and help grow? And now that you know the smart monkey's secret, what are you going to do to make it grow, no matter what happens out there in the big jungle?